praises be to the Most High. Good that you could all attend and be in the midst of this true holy day, the true winter holy day, which is the Feast of Dedication. Let's give the Most High some praise in the building. Not just here, but also the four corners of the earth. Let the Most High be praised, be worshiped. Let's give him some respect and some reverence. He's worthy. What's the Most High God's name? What's his name? What's his son's name? Let the world hear. What's his son's name? Oh, praise be to the Most High on this Feast of Dedication. Lord, have mercy. Another Feast of Dedication. And I'm going to tell you, it's none other than a better time now to be alive and be in this truth and know that who you are according to your bloodline. It's a blessing to be alive. I'm talking about the prophets of old would have died to be at this time. To see all the prophecies, to see everything going down, and to see Judah rising. All praise be to the Most High, right? So now it's time to get some understanding on what it is, because we know it's holy day season. And I say holy day season, I'm talking about God's true holy days, opposed to those pagan days that are out there that are being worshiped. And now it's time to know how to truly dedicate your temple to the Most High. So without further ado, my brothers and sisters, here and worldwide, I give you our elders, Elder Rawchaa and Elder Rawchaa, to give a timely lesson. Let the Most High be praised for their presence in this building. Let's give it up. All right.
Shalom. All right, shalom. Come on now. How you doing? I'm the Lawya. Blessed brothers and sisters, you can sit down. Of course, I'm going to do it this time. We're going to be nice and brief today. You know, sometimes I say I'll be nice and brief, but you never know what the Most High is going to do. In the spirit, we have something prepared, but sometimes the spirit comes to mind and and just takes over, and I begin to speak what the Most High utter through my conscience as going through this. Yeah. Happy feast, brothers and sisters. Feast of dedication. Feast of lights. Under the Jewish religion, it's called Hanukkah. Right? There's so many of our brothers and sisters out there who don't realize what this day is all about. For our people, and for the world. This is why this particular lesson, even though we're on or dealing with the Feast of Light, what they call Hanukkah, or dedication, most in the world doesn't know what it means, especially with our people coming back to the knowledge of ourselves. But through the Most High and His Word, I hope today to give edification. By titling this particular lesson, listen to this. Now, it's deep how I was able, through the Spirit of the Most High, tie it together. The dark side of America is the title. Now, why on the Feast of Dedication are we talking about the dark side of America? Well, this lesson in particular, going into this holy day or memorial, because it's more so a memorial to be remembered, going into this memorial to be remembered, we must realize how the nations were able to circumvent us, what their true intentions against God's people were, and how they were able to hijack and destroy everything at the same time, folks, setting up a satanic republic. A satanic republic. They lied to us and told us that America was built on morality, the Bible, Judeo-Christian values, when it's the exact reverse. Now, why do I say in this lesson, the dark side of America? Well, because there is a dark side. But dark implies there must be light. And the light is the children of Israel coming to the knowledge of themselves. Right here in America. So we're going to talk about this, the dark side. There's a hidden ideology within what we call the Western world republic, politics, religion, and it all intertwines in the bringing forth an antichrist system ruled by Satan himself. But how did it begin? How did it begin? It began with them destroying the only temple that could oppose them on earth. See, in order for Satan to set up his temple, folks, he had to destroy the temple of the God who banished him. I'm going to show you how this all comes around. And then set up a republic, an ideology to eventually absorb the children of light, God's people, into his satanic plan to one day war against the heavens. Let's go here real quick, Elder Lawya. The ideology that led to the dark side of America. Listen to me. Where did it begin? Well, folks, it began before Rome. Listen to me clearly. Rome took us down, but it began before Rome. The hidden agenda that this world, I would say this world, seek to bring forth. The secret agenda that they only speak about in private, that could get all of us on board, came out of Greece or Greek or the Greeks. That's the hidden ideology. See? They would have us just blame Rome, and Rome have a lot to account for. But see, just like I noticed something with my man Harry Houdini, he would like to take the blame off himself, only to call the Vatican or Rome the synagogue of Satan. When both sides, modern day Judaism and the Roman Catholic Church, are together with a secret ideology, which is not taught in any religious institution on earth. And in order to push this ideology, they must use the mob, or coliseums for influence, to push the ideas. Hence the reason why they'll rally and put all news on the back burner only to stomp out one or two people who are claiming that we're Israelites. Being an Israelite goes against the ideology, because now we'll know exactly what they're thinking and expose them as the synagogue of Satan. If you are a Christian out there, if you believe in God, be real. Be honest. Let's not fake it anymore, right? And I'm speaking to people out there, the people in the world, they listening right now. You know that America is satanic. Using God as a cover. You know that the ideology of America is dark. You know you see what they're pushing on our children. How did that ideology begin? The dark side of America. Well, let's go into the idea. Let's go to Maccabees, and I'm going to bring it around full circle. And how do we cleanse and divide ourselves from the evil we've been inseminated into before the judgment? What is the ideology? Who's that? Oh, that's wonderful. Who's translating? Okay, you we got some. Oh, okay, do your thing. Translate. You know, that's part of the gospel. We have to do that. It's tongues. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 1 and 10. First Maccabees 1 and 10. Let's read it, Elder Rawchaa.
1 Maccabees 1 and 10.
Come on.
And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus.
Out of the Greeks came out a wicked one. In the 2nd century. A matter of fact, this more so was around the 2nd century BC, by the name of Antiochus Epiphanes. The Greeks. Antiochus Epiphanes. Read.
Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome.
Who had been a hostage at Rome. Come on.
And he reigned in 130 and
You can come on closer to me real quick. You're out. All the way over. It's fine. So they can hear you out there. Now you can put it right here. You can share with me. That's fine. It's good. You give him a mic? His mic on? All right, great. Read it.
And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
And in those days, there went out from amongst our people wicked men. So Satan cannot bring forth any program on earth without initiating us into his order. Wicked men. Now we're going to show you that these men were Israelites who understood exactly what they were doing against the temple of God, God's people. That's right. God's people, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew it was contrary to our God and to their own allegiance as a people of Israel. Similar to what we see today. No way they could do what they're doing to us. if they didn't have people who was willing to agree to betray us. Because they can get people who look like us to say what they're thinking without any pushback. So these men knew exactly what they were doing. Same as today. Where you would have, and I can bring it up to today, like guys like Shaq calling Kyrie an idiot for searching for himself. Calling them idiots. And you can't tell me it's not a double standard. Where they can call him an idiot, but if you call a Jewish person an idiot, you're canceled. These are the wicked men the Most High was talking about. And all due respect, and I'm going to say it outright, to those who are ignorant. And guess what? It could be that Shaq don't realize the impact of his voice and influence. Because we were taught you can say anything against a black man and get away with it. When someone has a platform representing us and who we look like, with that comes a responsibility to defend us. That comes with a responsibility not to be used as some type of tool to attack your own people by the same enemy who have destroyed us. And it started with the ideology under the Greeks. If we, being white Greeks or Edomites or Idumeans, come against these people, they'll rally together against a common enemy. So we must be tactful in our approach in destroying the temple of God and God's people. We must initiate the wicked men who are willing to destroy their own people to use them as symbols. As a symbol. And we'll hide behind the symbol we've incentivized and attack them with their own. Folks, it has everything to do with why this holy day is so important. The dark side of America has the ideology of the Greeks, where they'll attack you, then hide behind your people who are willing to defend them. Read.
1 Maccabees 1:11.
Come on.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. So how would they get that today? Let us go and make a contract with the heathen. So instead of our holy days, we'll uphold their holy days. We'll even make one up. Instead of the Feast of Lights that was given to the Hebrews that gives us the history that point to their ideology, they would give us an African Hanukkah. What the Hades is Kwanzaa? Africans didn't even create that. Africans don't even know about a Kwanzaa. So let me give you an example of those who would make a contract with the heathen to do what? Here's the ideology that has destroyed our people, that keeps us from the light, the truth of ourselves and our God. Read it.
Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Let us make a covenant with the heathen, because since we lost our contracts and our agreement with them, we have had much sorrow. Let's make an agreement. Who's the modern day agreeers today? The modern day politicians they put before us. And guess what? It's intentional. They resent us and they have nothing for us. They're in position to make sure we don't have. Why? The more they can keep us out. Think about it, the powers who are using them. The more these people, these symbols that we think are for us, the more they grow in popularity and finance. It's incentivized keeping us down, pacifying our people, at the same time seeking to utterly eradicate and exterminate us. And these people know it. They're behind closed doors. The example are the politicians who you think represents you. The other thing, on the religious side of things, the AME Baptist Church, one of the first organized Christian black churches since the beginning of this country. Many great men and women came out of the AME church, but what we didn't know is that church in of itself began with Prince Hall Freemasonry. To rival the churches that were in the Midwest and in the South, Oklahoma and others, that was teaching us at the same time in the 1800s that the blacks coming off the ships are in fact the true children of Israel. And those who own the ships, those who own the banks, the ports, it's the same people who control travel today. Instead of labeling us as Israel, the first ship that came over was called the SS de Judah. You think they didn't know that we were Judah? They knew. They have a religion of Judaism. But yet, instead of calling us Judah off of the ships, on their bill of sale, they renamed us Negro. And this would not have been possible if there weren't the educated and those of understanding who looks just like us. This wouldn't have happened if they weren't complicit, if they weren't in agreement with concealing this truth from our people. They knew. So when you see a documentary of others saying Hebrew to Negro, that's not a title of a documentary. That's exactly what happened. God never named the man Negro. Now, of course, there's 12 tribes, but why is this concentrated focus on the black man in particular? Even though there's many tribes, Ephraim, Asher, the Mexicans, the Colombians, the Balikwa Taino, the North American Indian, the Aborigines of Australia. Why do they have a concentrated foot on the black man's neck? Because it was prophesied in the Torah they read, our Torah, that it would be Judah who would one day gather the rest of his brothers. If we keep a foot on Judah, the other tribes stay scattered and divided by default. If we can destroy the black man, and on top of destroying the black man who is Judah, pacify the rest of the tribes, we can initiate them against their own uprising or kingdom. Hence the reason you see immigration today. Over 11 million people just led in the country, not because they like these people, not because they like the other tribes that they're letting over. They're using them to leverage against Judah. Before we get to them, they're going to initiate them in that same old Greek program of divide and conquer against Judah. But any tribe in these last days aligned with the enemy, understand that you're fighting not just against Judah or Israel. You're going to find yourself to be fighting against God himself. So when we talk about the dark side of America, it's about social engineering, dividing and conquer, keeping Judah down, and this is where the Romans learned it from, Antiochus. Now, if you look at Antiochus Epiphanes' bloodline, Edomite, Idumean, you would know that the Idumeans, during the 2nd century BC, converted into what we call Judaism and was called Jews during the time of Hyrcanus. So if that's right, if Antiochus was living today, he would be considered Jewish. And that's just history. So you have to understand the ideology behind Antiochus to understand the people who converted with the new religion. To know and think, maybe, I don't know, is this also their modus operandi? Read it, Elder Lawya. Don't worry about it. That's muscle memory there. I apologize, Rob. Lawya's flying over to England, so we wish him Godspeed, and I'm going to be there soon. So, right, Elder Rawchaa.
1 Maccabees 1:12.
Yes.
So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen.
They gave them license to do ordinances after what? The customs of the heathen. Now our people are getting, black men is getting status and all that. Licenses to do things and make money to help destroy their own people. Like you to have people who say, well, listen, I'm going to go into politics and I'm going to get in to help my people. I'm going to change it from the inside, the old bait and switch, the old Barack Obama game. And no sooner do you get behind those closed doors, thinking initially you're going there to help your people, you're briefed. You're briefed. Oh, you don't know how this goes, do you? You're going to sign and rubber stamp what we tell you to sign. We're not going to push one piece of legislation for your people, unless you agree to sign 10 pieces of legislation that will eventually destroy them. A lot of us think in politics, folks, that the president goes in with an agenda and actually bring forth his own agenda. No. When a president or a politician comes in, they're briefed. They're told in advance, here's your calendar for the whole year. Here's your meetings, your lunches, your international summit agreements with that. Be like, well, hold up, I got a plan. No, here's the plan. You show up where we tell you to show up. or you have to contend with the guys in the back of you that was actually hired to protect you. JFK. If you were the real leader, you would come with your own agenda and set up your own meetings. You're going to take, 3 months you meet with the Black Caucus. Here you meet with the Asian president at this time. You're like, hold up, man. Man, I got some ideas. Shut up, okay? The only reason you're here is because you look like them and we can use you to destroy your own people, okay? Shut up. So what is the politics about? What is this? We're going to show you today. It's to keep Judah from ever realizing his true power and inheritance. And we will squash Judah from either side. And if Judah ever stands up, we'll tell people it's a conspiracy theory. Because we have control over the minds and ideas which are absorbed by the populace. We'll let them know it's a conspiracy theory. Or we'll tell them it's a hate group. And another thing, and I'm going to renounce this to the end of earth. We need to stand up and stop allowing these false journalists. We need to stand up against them labeling us Black Hebrew Israelites. That's a lie. That's implying that Israelites look any different than us. Ain't no Black Hebrew Israelites. Folks, when you hear that and you hear other people repeating it, you know they've been programmed by the media. There's no such thing as a Black Hebrew Israelite. That's only so that they're only putting that out there to put a negative connotation like the Black Panther, Black nationalist, to label it something dark when America's dark. So we resent that label. We're the tribes of Israel. Let's read it.
1 Maccabees 1:14.
Come on.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem.
There you go. How now can we control the rest? We must now build a place for influence. A pastime. And while people are all caught up into the games, they'll be initiated into the idea of a one world society under Satan. We need to give them a pastime. So he gave them a license to build a place of exercise, gyms. Gyms. One way out. No soon, folks, as I remember being enrolled in school. I'll never forget this. And the first thing they let me do in between assemblies and all that, right? Because they see me outside shooting little jumpers and all that, and I was little. Don't you know, folks, as I grew a little older in school, they would allow me to actually be in the gym shooting free throws. And then if I was acting up, no, I wasn't just sitting there crying, sitting there being held back in school. You know what they had me? They had me and other people were sitting there sleep like this. They would have me in the gym where the weights were. So what was I going to do? Lay down and go to sleep, or was I going to hit the gym? So they would put us in places to become what? The gladiators. Here's the idea that came from the Greeks. Because out of the gladiator, building a gladiator, you have what? Heroes. That's right. Role models to influence the masses. So, folks, it started with the Greeks. A place of exercise to build what? Role models, influencers. It's right here in the Bible. Oh, I forgot. It's in the Apocrypha, the book they purposely took out of the Bible. See? But yet, they took it out of our Bible. Black churches. But they continue to read it amongst the Catholics. Right down this day, what I'm reading is in the Catholic Bible. So don't tell me they didn't know for a long time who we were. They were just preparing themselves, the society, for the moment Judah would really come to the knowledge of himself. They're preparing themselves, knowing that one day Judah, the lion, would begin to say, you know what? Something isn't right here. It seems like they have us running in circles. Someone's lying to us. Read. A place of exercise, come on.
At Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen.
According to the customs of the heathen. And this is why near every holiday, what is the pastime? You know, men love it. Sports. Now, sports in of itself isn't evil or wrong, but you have to understand the idea behind it. The government and powers that be, that's right, they're more so focused on the what? On the messages that are going out during that time than the sport itself. Military, flags wavering, the pharmaceuticals pushing what they're pushing. And this is why anyone do something like take a knee. Oh, we didn't set it up for that. We didn't set it up for you to stand against racism now. That's not the message. It's Antiochus' message. And we're going to show you what that message was. This is why when a basketball player upload a tweet, oh no, we didn't give you that for this. There's a message, a unified message that have to go out at one time. And Judah could never understand that the message is against Israel's, his people's very existence. So he says, okay, we have to build a gym, right? Give them sports. Read.
1 Maccabees 1:15, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant.
Made themselves uncircumcised and did what? Forsook the holy covenant. The holy agreement God made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They must what? Celebrate the customs of the heathens. So they'll have us sitting there with a Christmas tree in back of us with our children smiling in stockings, Black Santa, and all these things pushing what? That Satanism. Pushing the dark side and actually incentivizing us to do so. Because what? When you look into Antiochus, when you look into the Old Testament, it wasn't just bulls being sacrificed for these holy days. Children are sacrificed under the Moloch religion. That's why the Most High said, listen, he know we love our children and want to give them great things and we don't want to see our children left out while the other children playing. Our God knows that. But there's more to it. You don't know at the same time, 12 midnight, a child is losing his life on the same day. Bloodletting to their God and using us as athletes who absorbs all that energy in a sport which mimics war. And everyone is together, one mind, one spirit, one team. And then at night, the baby dies. Read on.
And joined themselves to the heathen.
And joined themselves to the heathen. Read.
And were sold to do mischief.
And was sold to do mischief. See, and guess what? That's the confusing part of what's going on. And I like to mention that since it's still out there, what's going on with our brother Ye or Kanye. They say he's crazy. But no, this is what happens when you realize that you've made an allegiance with the dark side and still have a conscience. You're trying to make sense of this environment that they have allowed you to partake in. And if you have a conscience, you start to realize, I've made an allegiance with Satanists. My family isn't safe. My children aren't safe. And then they'd be like, well, you're crazy. Because we're God-fearing people. You know we read the Torah. Oh, we give the foundations all the time. You see, when the cameras come on, the Rockefeller Foundation, this foundation, we adopt black children. What else do you want? Kanye is saying, no, you're fronting. I know what you're doing. Read. We left off at
16. Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus.
No, it's one thing where it says about and put on a hat. A matter of fact, let's get 1 Maccabees 3:43. Now they have initiated our own people, men and women and all that, into sports. Now I'm going to tell y'all something that y'all probably didn't know. By a show of hands, how many people in this particular audience, I see probably 100, 150, 200, whoever, how many people here who actually religiously watch the WNBA? No. A matter of fact, brother, I need you to turn the camera on the audience because we have to get at least one. Just turn it around, 180 for me real quick. Real quick, by a show of hands, I know there's someone in here who religiously watches the WNBA. Raise your hand. Who takes in a WNBA game at least twice a year? Raise your hand. Huh? You got a family? You got family playing there? Lord have mercy. Turn that back around. We got to talk after this. We have one who take in at least 2 games out of, man, that's a hard racial. That's a hard racial in a packed room. So somebody might ask, okay, the NBA subsidizes the WNBA sports. They lose money, no one looks at it. No one cares for it. Why do they continue to force something as horrible and crazy and ridiculous as the WNBA on the populace? Why? You know why? Because it's all about image. It's not about money. It's about a message. And listen to the message. This is a quasi way they can have black men and the sport support. Listen to me clearly. Support publicly a gay league. And the reality is about it is, and this is the truth, there's a large percentage of women in the WNBA who are open lesbians. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't in good conscience put my mind behind supporting. At the same time, I'm seeing how our sisters are suffering, and now the only women that they are celebrating losing money are those women? What does that say? That they would rather lose money and support that lifestyle, which really only benefits the majority of the time the white liberals and others who are dealing with that lifestyle outside of us. I need y'all to think about that. They can celebrate that, but at the same time, do nothing about the suffering of our sisters who want family, who believe in God. You get no shine. They'd rather lose money to push an idea that women, if you want to be celebrated and get notoriety, come to the dark side. This is the dark side of America. They don't celebrate family no more. A woman who still celebrates her femininity and her desire and need and want to be with a man. They celebrate everything that's against God, and that's why even if losing money, they'll still push it. It's the only thing I've ever seen, losing money, and they're still pushing it, folks. You have to understand this is deeper than money. It's pushing an ideology that if you're willing to compromise yourself morally, then guess what? The dark side will be willing to even take a loss. And that's not to say all women in the NBA are dealing with that behavior, but there's a large number. When I see on magazines and what they represent, tatted up all over the place, tall women palming a basketball, listen, that is not attractive. Then I'm hearing stuff that it's breaking my mind when I hear it. If you have a man calling another man his husband and a woman calling another woman his wife, don't you know the definition of wife is a woman married to a man who's a husband? And let me make this clear. Like I said the other day, I'm not here to attack or berate or come against anyone who may be under sin or struggling with sin. But it's wrong if we allow our people to help them celebrate it and uphold it as something good. That's the problem with some of this stuff. I know people are struggling with different sin, but they've incentivized it and pushed it down our throats. And that's the dark side of America, folks. That they have silenced the righteous. They've silenced people who would stand and say, no, not the children anymore. It's time to get back to family values and following God before the judgment. Nah. The dark side of America, and here's the reality, and I'm going to tell you, it was never about God. They were fronting the whole time. This country and the Western world countries was built by occultists. Benjamin Franklin, he came directly from Europe out of the Hellfire Club. A Moloch worshiping fraternity. Him and all the good old boys that were with him, so-called founding fathers, when they tore down one of Ben Franklin's houses in England, they found bones of babies near the foundation of it. The occult dark side have always operated in politics over religion and concealed their true agenda to stomp out and destroy all that's right in the earth. But now that since they have initiated all people in it now, there's no longer a need for them to hide themselves. Because the world now accepts occultism, witchcraft, evil, sorcery. And it started with Antiochus Epiphanes. Come on, let's want to go through it now. 1 Maccabees 3 and 43.
1 Maccabees 3 and 43.
Read.
They said one to another, let us restore the decayed estate of our people.
So here it is. We had good men at the same time saying, let us restore the what?
The decayed estate of our people.
The decay in the state of our people. Who did this? The Levites. The Maccabean brothers. The family. They say, let's restore our people. You have the enemy looking to initiate and destroy us as today. And you have other men saying, no, our people don't realize what they've been initiated into. Let's not blame our people. Let's save them. Every church should have this story. Every church should have this story of dedicating ourselves back to God. And it starts with cleaning up our people. And that is the piece that they don't want us to know about. The culture change that comes with us taking on our true name, Israel. It has more to do about cleaning ourselves up than exposing them. Read.
And let us fight for our people.
Let us fight for our people. Read.
And the sanctuary.
And the sanctuary. So we're going to have those who would sell us out. And you would have others in this earth who would be willing to what? Fight. Not against the enemy more so than for their own people. Read.
Then was the congregation gathered together, that they might be ready for battle.
Come on.
And that they might pray and ask mercy and compassion.
Knowing that no one can fight, none of us can win this war that's waged against us politically and otherwise without our God. This is why instead of Sunday, we here worshiping and acknowledging and serving the God of gods on the Sabbath. Because the God of the Sabbath is who we pray to, and he's the only God that can save us through such pearls. Read.
45. Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness, and there was none of her children that went in or out. The sanctuary also was trodden down.
The sanctuary was trodden down. The Greeks destroyed our place of worship. They destroyed our place of worship. And it's deep. Last week in South Carolina when I went on that tour. What's that? That humming? Is that something? Oh, what's going on out there? All right. When there was a revolution, or more so, a small revolt in South Carolina, where the brothers got together to come against the plantations who were harming our people in South Carolina. I seen some of the houses they built where they would have metal iron barbed wire made into the fence, in fear of what the escaped slaves would do. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you right now, folks, read that last piece, that what you just read, Elder Lawyer. Elder Rawchaa.
The sanctuary also was trodden down.
Read it.
And aliens kept the stronghold.
Before that.
Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness.
Come on.
There was none of her children that went in or out.
Read.
The sanctuary also was trodden down.
The sanctuary was also trodden down. Folks, in South Carolina, they were fearful that our people, that's right, the GOCCs and all that, they knew they were Israel, would revolt against the evil that was going on there. And I'm going to tell you, folks, it was sad to see it. When I read this and see the sanctuary being destroyed, there's no doubt we're the people in recognizing how society was made to destroy God's people here. And I was looking at the slave ships and what was going on and the revolts that was going on, and I'm like, man, now I understand why they're trying so hard to put the lid on what's going on right now with the awakening. And it's not about the physical revolution. It's more so about the cleaning up. What happens all together if our people clean up and follow our God all at once? It's over. It's over if we all come together, and that's what they fear. Not that there's a threat to revolt or rebel like the slaves did, but more so, if we come together, what it means for the society that has actually incentivized itself off of Israel living on the bottom.
First Maccabees 3 and 45.
Come on.
Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness. There was none of her children
keep your finger on it. Go ahead.
that went in or out.
Come on.
The sanctuary also was trodden down.
The sanctuary was trodden down. Why did I want to go there? Because during the revolt in South Carolina, they made a decree, and I'm speaking of the government. They made a decree for a space of a few months that the black church cannot congregate. Because they felt that the revolution was coming out of the only place they were allowing us to come together without any level of what? Of oversight.